education was that important. I also told you how 30 years down the line, he woke up to the importance of education and returned to school. And at age 56, graduated with a degree in marketing. Well, today, I have an update on the Anthony story. For years, friends and neighbors of Anthony have been asking him to put himself forward as a candidate for the district assembly. But our mother had not been too keen on his standing for elections on account of her own experience with politics when she was a vice chairman for the Bantama constituency of Now in the 1969 general elections. When our mother died a few years ago, Anthony felt free to stand for elections, but the incumbent assemblyman was his friend and someone he had supported, and so he held back. Well, for this year's elections, the incumbent decided not to stand, and so Anthony put his name up as a candidate. His candidacy was welcomed warmly by his friends and neighbors, and they assured him of their support and votes. Some of them joined his campaign team. And in the weeks and days leading up to the elections, everywhere he went, he was greeted with cheers of "Assemblyman! Assemblyman!" And when he reminded people that the elections have not taken place yet, they will respond, "Oh, but you, who can beat you here?" A few elderly women in the community took to going to knock at his door every morning to say, "Assemblyman, we do not know what we are going to eat today. Oh. Please help us." And when Anthony says, "Oh, I'm not the assemblyman yet," they will say, "But who can beat you in this electoral area? We know your impact in this community already, and we knew your mother, so you can rest assured that you are our next assemblyman." Because I followed these developments with keen interest. I remembered how my mother was traumatized on the eve of the 1969 elections when she discovered that the chairman of the constituency himself did not intend to vote for the party for which he was the constituency chairman. And my mother stumbled upon this man telling some friends of his that, "Oh, we are voting for Progress Party." Yes, I'm going with Progress Party. And he was still the constituency chairman. My mother was her deputy. I reminded Anthony not to be taken in by all the assurances because this is Ghana. And these are Ghanaians. And when it comes to elections, most Ghanaian voters can be treacherous. Well, fast forward to last Tuesday, December 17. The elections came on. Throughout the day, people were calling Anthony and asking him to come and pick them to go and vote for him. Each call cheered him because he felt that for someone to call him and ask him to come and pick him to go and vote for him was a sign of good news. And so, for most of the day, he used his car to ferry people to the polling stations. They all assured him after voting that they had voted for him. In one case, when he responded to the call and drove to the house, the people said they had not eaten and did not have money, and so he gave them money for food, for breakfast, before taking them to the polling station to vote. People kept calling to assure him that they have voted for him right up to the time the polls closed. Others were passing through the house on their way from voting to assure him that they had voted for him. So overwhelming were the assurances of votes that Anthony began to make arrangements for his victory celebration. He quickly made arrangements for a band and began to arrange for refreshments. Fortunately, the voting had been incident-free, and so the counting of ballots went ahead without any hitch. And at the polling station, to which he had carried the family of 6 who had said they did not have money for breakfast, he got 0 votes. At another polling station to which he had driven over 9 people, he got just 2 votes. As fate would have it, Anthony happened to be standing with all the 6 members of the family he had treated to breakfast when the results were being declared. And before the announcement, they had assured him that they had all voted for him. And so Anthony was sure that if he did not get any votes at that particular polling station at all, he was looking at least 6 votes. But he got 0. He turned to the family when the results were declared from that polling station. He called to them and said, "You guys are 6, and you all voted for me at this particular polling station. So should I lodge a complaint and call for a recount?" And to Anthony's dismay, they burst into laughter and walked away. A total of 1,878 votes were cast in the electoral area for 6 candidates. Anthony came 3rd. You know, I admire the countries where the results of elections can be predicted correctly from exit polls. It cannot happen in Ghana. Because when it comes to elections, most Ghanaians cannot be trusted. The family that had breakfast at the expense of Anthony, in addition to the lift to the right to the polling station, knew that they were not going to vote for him. And yet, they called him to come and pick them. And they made sure that they got breakfast out of him as well. And that is typically Ghanaian when it comes to elections. Because anytime a politician has cried foul at an election results, I have laughed. Yes, there can be electoral malpractices, but the Ghanaian cannot be trusted when he assures you that you have his votes. Well, I want to congratulate the Electoral Commission for successful elections, and I want to congratulate all the candidates for getting involved and for offering themselves for service in their communities. I spoke to Anthony last night. He'll be all right. But something he said will stay with me for a long time. He said, "Brother, I tell you, people are bad."
These are through delegates, right? Uncle, food for thought indeed. Hey. Oh dear. Well, I send my commiserations to your brother.
Oh, he'll be all right. I've even spoken to him. On my way here, I spoke to him again. He's beginning to find his cheerful self again. Oh, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. I've told him not to stop contributing to the community and continue to make his impact. Yeah. He didn't need to be an assemblyman before he could contribute.
Would you advise him to?
I think he would need a bit of time to recover fully.
And a hug or two from the community.
Oh, come and pick me. Oh, assemblyman. Elections, Brother Famia. Okay.
We need
yeah. Oh, is it when he arrived at the place where the collation center, where that? Assemblyman, we don't need problem. We need problem.
Hey.
They sent him home with a headache.
With 0. Hey. Anyway, we certainly hope that Christmas turns out a lot better than the election for our Uncle Anthony. Thank you so much for Uncle Ibo for food for thought today. And it was brought to us by Roverman Productions. Let's not forget it's Yuletide, and Roverman Productions, in partnership with Joy FM, Graphic News Plus, and the National Theatre, present 6 of Uncle Ibo White's best